pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have a moment of song prayer for not only our country, but our town and our leaders here tonight. Amen. It is the 19th of September, Tuesday evening, 5:30 in the evening. We're in the town bath municipal center. The roll call, please.
Scott Murphy,
Here.
Susan Webster's here, Elizabeth Skinner,
Here.
Mary Lynn Hickey, here, Rebecca McLeod, Greg Sheen,
Here.
and Tom Hall.
Here.
All right, can we have a review of the minutes from council meeting of September the 5th? I'll take any additions or corrections and common consent.
Correction. Yeah, September 20, not August 20 for the water committee meeting.
Okay.
September.
Number 16.
Gotcha. Yes. Hey, I do appreciate, Tom, write to me when I send these out, you see anything, I do really appreciate your all's input in that. Because believe me, you look at these enough, you go, kind of goofy,
Yes.
you know. So I do appreciate that.
Any other additions or corrections? Okay, can we have common consent then if everything's good? Okay.
As amended.
Okay, as amended, yes. All right, persons before council, we have TBS here this evening. You all have the floor.
Great, thank you. Thank you all so much. I know in past years, it's sometimes been a grim overview, but I'm thrilled to be here this evening on behalf of tourism. For the new council members, we come once a year, we brief you all on how we're spending the funds that we collect for occupancy tax that you all help provide. In our kind of overall game plan for the year. So on behalf of the Board of Travel Berkeley Springs and our tourism partners, we thank the town of Bath for your support and assistance to invest and grow the tourism industry by working together to continue to beautify and make a positive first visitor impression, provide a small business friendly environment, and keep our community safe and provide essential services. We are all working together to continue to make Berkeley Springs a top visitor destination. I'd like to share with you some growth and the impact of tourism over the past year, and these numbers are stellar. In 2022 was West Virginia's best tourist year with an annual impact statewide exceeding $7 billion. That is a 17% increase in spending in West Virginia versus the national average, which was a 1% increase. So 16% growth in tourism in West Virginia over the past year. That's a 275% increase in short-term rentals since 2019, and we've seen the impacts of that in Morgan County. Tourism in West Virginia supports about 53,000 jobs, or 1 out of 16 jobs in the state. Without the tax revenue generated from tourism, each resident in West Virginia would have to pay an additional $715 in taxes to cover the same level of state service. The local impact of tourism, and I'd like to thank and recognize Laura Smith for doing these statistics and research and putting this forecast together. Tourism is now the largest economic generator in Morgan County, and we're soaring to become a $200 million a year industry. We've seen 9% growth this year. We believe that is from the room expansion at Capon State Park, the growth and fair enforcement of occupancy tax collection for short-term rentals to marketplace facilitators. $943,000 of occupancy tax was collected this past fiscal year. For TBS, we run that from July 1st through June 30th. So the forecast I'm giving you is from July 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2023. There was a growth of $133,000 in occupancy tax revenue, or 9%, again, compared to the national average of 1%. So we're far exceeding that. What's the value for our local area? The jobs provided, the commercial property taxes at no cost to local residents, and that tourism generates $153 million into our local economy. How is that revenue generated? Through mortgages that our local banks get on second homes, property insurances, work for plumbers, carpenters, electricians, housekeepers, lawn mowers, snow removal personnel, excavators, septic service providers, propane, heating services, on and on and on, the impact. So this means that there's $15 million for lodging revenue being spent in the surrounding Berkeley Springs area at an average of $160 a night, bringing in almost 200,000 overnight visitors to our area each year. There are about 5,000 vacation homeowners that contribute to 66,000 vacation visits to our local economy from the second homeowners. 400,000 day trippers come to Morgan County each year. So there are over 660,000 visitors to Morgan County that's generated by tourism. $120 million are pumped into our local economy to support businesses and services such as golfing, food, spas, shopping, services, all of those entities. What do we need to work together to support to keep Berkeley Springs as a top tourism destination? We're going to need your support and our legislative support to prevent new CVBs from being developed in 2025. Dividing resources and assets in our community is not in the best interest of tourism. We ask that our town and county representatives recognize the TBS, our panel of experts, and what we contribute to the tourism industry, and referring anyone who wants to start a new visitor center to partner with us to work together to find what is best for our community. We may be seeking professional assistance. The Mills Group has been suggested for a parking and signage plan for our community. We'll need financial support from EDA, the County Commission, and the Town of Bath, in addition to tourism, for the study to take place. As short-term rentals grow, there are a number of challenges with maintaining standards for noise, trash, and occupancy limits. Tourism may need your support to help with permitting for short-term rentals, to ensure vacation rentals are a positive and welcome experience for our community and local residents, and for the longevity of the vacation rental industry. As community leaders, we need to look at long-term planning for services that are needed. It would be most beneficial to our local residents and business owners if the town and county work together for long-term planning and pooled resources. We need to seek professional assistance for water and sewer services that are going to be required with growth over the next 1, 3, 5, and 10 years. It would be detrimental to our tourism industry if the nation's top 10 warm springs water destinations ran out of water because our community failed to work together to provide local services needed for infrastructure. We ask that in everything approved and supported by both the county and Town of Bath, we require a sense of pride instilled in our community. We all agree to be ambassadors for our community and demand our businesses, when seeking approval for permits and projects, we ask them to implement a certain standard of pride that appeals for their project and their place of business, to where the first impression someone has driving through our town is a positive impression. For forecasting moving forward and to better understand where to specifically increase our marketing efforts, it would be helpful to get data by categories for the quarter with the occupancy tax payment. I think the county is impacted more than the town with this request, but it would be nice to have one category for inns, hotels, and resorts, another category for short-term rentals, and another category in bed and breakfast. Then we would know where to put our marketing efforts more for lodging. Thank you all for your support. Are there any questions for Laura or I that we can provide counsel?
On the $120 million for the local area, what are you specifically talking about? Is that just Greater Berkeley Springs?
It's the county, yes, yeah.
All of Morgan County?
Yes.
Okay.
Are you thinking that's low? What are your thoughts? Greg?
Well, because you added 120 and then you added, just so I understand, looking at this a little deeper, than the total impact on tourism of Morgan County at $975 million. Where does that number come from then? I'm just trying to.
The occupancy tax collection in 943,900.
Yeah, and then you take the day trippers. So it's broken out for lodging and then day trippers.
So okay, so you're saying, I just want to make sure I'm clear on this, because maybe it's just me not reading into this correctly, but it's showing, this is the second from the last paragraph, using this process, the total impact tourism has on the county of Morgan County is $975 million.
That's after the multiplier of 7 that the state uses.
So, so we're doing $120 million in our local area, but the entire county is doing $975 million?
Okay, so good question. The 120 are the direct sales measured by the lodging and the retailers.
And then the multiplier goes to include what they're spending in gas, food, and then the other.
And the multiplying factor is 7?
That's what the state uses.
And we just sat, it's a
We
great
use
question.
5, the state uses 7.
Okay.
We sat through this at the tourism conference. It got statistified, trying to figure all of this out and how they do all of this.
Seems like a generous multiplier.
You know, and it's,
$1 billion is a lot of money in this county.
Yeah,
For a county of how many
18,000.
thousand? And then you've got the daily visitors you have at 400 a day seasonal.
For the year. Mm-hmm.
I would say it's low. I could show you numbers for my business when I do in 1099 vendors to support our local business people. I would counter argue that.
Okay.
And
No, I was just trying to think of it, trying to even break it down even smaller to get an idea of here within the town of Bath,
Mhm.
what is
Yeah.
the financial activity in the town? That's where I'm trying to work backwards to get a look at what are our retail sales. Again, obviously you've got the inn and some other folks in town as far as rooms are concerned. I can see that.
we had the same question to the state. So we're always dealing with data that's old. I think
Right.
that's one of the challenges with forecasting and all that. So in the next 30 to 60 days, they're going to release what they have for 2023 numbers. So we're looking for that. We have talked to the state partners about that. We also met with several of the statistics folks that the state uses to try to get it down in the county level. And we're going to follow up asking to release it for the municipal and county levels. They spend a lot of money doing that. And I have some numbers that I need to follow up with some people. The tourism conference was just last week. I think it would be most helpful.
It would
I really
very
do.
much be, yeah, it would very
Valid
much be
point.
helpful. Yeah. So, and they also relating to the permitting, because I know what we're up against as far as having this tremendous increase of Airbnbs out there. Do you feel that we should get to the point where we're actually setting a fixed number of permits as opposed to just letting this go to the point where everything's an Airbnb?
You know, I think we need to do some research to other communities to see. I think the fear that we have is, and it's already impacted the local real estate market, that there are negative consequences because there's not a standard being inflicted by all the short-term rental folks. I know personally we have lost 6 sales for Mountain Home Real Estate because the HOAs are changing their covenants and restrictions to not permit short-term rentals. So I think we have to find the balance. What exactly that is, I don't know, but I'm willing to help find a solution to figure it out.
And as far as permitting is concerned, if we got to the point where they're within the town of Bath or Morgan County, if there was a fixed number of, how many Airbnb units do we have right now? Are you projecting?
I don't know exactly. I would say around 400 to 500. That would be my guess.
400 to 500 Airbnb plus the available rooms.
And I say Airbnb, but short-term
Term
rentals.
rentals.
Yeah,
Which then we
Now, is
just,
that countywide or citywide?
I think both.
A combination thereof?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And how many do we have just within the 1 mile square limit that we have for the town of Bath?
I don't know. Sharon might be able to tell that with the registered. Are they giving you
They
all?
don't give me any detail on it. That's one of the notes I
just
made.
we just
Yeah.
get a
I think we
number.
need to get back with the legislation to try to fix that. I really do.
It would be nice to get that, to understand, could be able to know what that sales tax is every month.
Yeah.
And that would be really helpful for each of the industries, as well. I'm just thinking of the permitting fees. That maybe there should be a fee to do the short-term rentals, to have some kind of skin in the game, to have some kind of oversight. So you can't just open your doors up. That's why you're losing them today. That's why the HOAs are changing all their covenants.
Mhm.
There's
Mhm.
behavior.
Sure.
And our police department and sheriff's department has better things to do than to deal with noise issues.
Parties and noise.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's the excess that's going to prompt a demand for more regulation, which is a two-edged thing.
Yeah.
And for folks who've made the investment in these properties expecting a certain yield, that will certainly impact them. If they can't pack the house every weekend with populations that maybe are less like college kids perhaps. Yeah, just all the things.
Yeah, so you were saying on your sales that you lost, the 6 sales that you lost, those were basically investors who were looking at purchasing a property, using it as a short-term rental.
Mhm.
As not
Yeah, and not
a
necessarily
full-time-
commercial, but some of them were family home
Homes.
people that wanted to use it, multi-purpose.
Right.
So,
Wow.
Because they were in HOAs and the HOA didn't permit.
yes, they were in the process of changing.
Modified.
Right,
Modified.
but the HOA behavior is reactive to the changing environment
Mhm. I agree.
around
Yep. Mhm.
the way the population that comes in to consume this service has created disturbance and issues and things that,
Yes.
Do you think that the number of units that we have available out there is in balance to
the demand.
Yeah, the demand? Or-
To do what she's gonna answer.
That is the challenge. Like, I know for Travel Berkeley Springs, we keep trying to bring in more people to meet that. I think there's good impacts and there's bad. Yes, I'm very concerned about it being an oversaturation and it being negative on our local residents and our tourism economy. Capitalism usually balances it out.
It does.
And I've been through the ways, being here 20 years in the vacation rental business to see that happen. The interest rates are already slowing it down. So, so
Yeah, it's something we'll all have to pay attention to for sure. There still has to be some available housing for people to buy and live in.
Right.
yes,
Mhm.
our local people too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I find it completely amazing at the number of offers that people are getting to sell their homes. Every week, at 259 Martinsburg Road, there's somebody that sends this thing in the
Mhm.
mail that, are you interested in selling
On
your
your
home?
house.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Now they're
Mhm.
starting to call too.
Yeah.
That's investor groups.
Right.
That's what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
Okay. This is great data, Stephanie. Thank you.
And
you.
any other questions for Stephanie or Laura?
Can I have a copy of your request, or you can give it to Sharon?
Yeah.
Just so I can.
Well, if there's no other questions, thank you all very much. I appreciate
Thank
all
you
that
for
guys
everything
do
you
for
guys
us.
do. Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Everything.
your
It's the team of
support.
us.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
We'll keep getting better.
All right. We'll move on to communications from the mayor. the Morgan County Homeless Coalition did their walk a while in their shoes event. Mary, how did that go? I didn't make it down. Were you
It
there?
was a really successful, positive event. We had a ceremonial passing of the baton from Pastor Dick Borhard to Pastor Tim from the Martinsburg Union Rescue Mission. They had a pig roast out there. They had all the sides were donated by Dexter's Laboratory. They had some lovely speeches and chance for anyone who wanted to tour the facility, which again is just going to be women in that facility over the short term. They do have some expansion plans up into Paw Paw that would include more families. And of course, a really expanded menu of services that address more than just the Band-Aid of making sure that someone doesn't freeze to death, but services like job counseling and substance abuse counseling and a lot of other things that now fall under this larger umbrella with the joint merger between our local group and the Martinsburg Union Rescue Mission. So it was a really great day and a very positive event. And all the folks who spent close to 7 years on the fundraising and the hard work to raise that building and get it complete really deserve our thanks and appreciation because it's a much needed resource in our community.
Absolutely. Okay, thank you. Food truck event. I know we had some rain going on. I don't know how well it went because I had to.
I think it went as well as it could have, given the weather.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I haven't heard too much input back. Okay. All right, well, let's move on to Bath Development Authority. Here, meeting 10/4, 4:30 at the courthouse. Looks like they're gonna be working on putting together a new website. Looks something like what'll be happening. So, all right, Parks and Recs. We don't have any big, their meetings the 20th of this month, 7 p.m. courthouse. Planning Commission.
Let's see, we had planned to have the HLC meeting on Thursday or work with the HLC on the comprehensive plan. They're not going to be able to do that. So the finance committee is going to jump into the breach. So we'll sit down on Thursday night and go through the 2017 comprehensive plan strategies, objectives, and goals. And we'll make sure all the new members of the finance committee know what's on the record that's tasked to them.
Get done. All right, any questions for Larry? Okay, let's move on to Rails and Trails.
All right, so far, and you have a report, I believe it was a bit late today, but you still have it. This time it's illustrated. Rail Trail, there's a chance we'll have a meeting in the future right now. Anything that's going on is really going on with parcel 1B, which is in Rebecca's Lane. And I keep looking at the site, and generally questions, issues, something that will come up with the bids will show up on the site because they have to get answered. There's nothing shown yet. Still December 12th for the bid opening for the rail trail design build. So nothing's really changed there. The larger issues, as you can tell, are in the state park project. Yeah, the rubber has hit the road, and we had a conference, a different conference call with the DOH and the contractor last Friday, as I recall, or I think Rebecca was on that. And we got them to come to town Thursday morning to do the real pre-construction conference where you're actually on the ground talking to the contractor, DOH, and a number of us, because before the conference call let off, I couldn't stand it. So I basically said, oh yeah, there's this apple butter festival thing. And that is going to affect your schedule and you need to be addressing it. And of course, that was like a shock to all the players. So, DOH has had this for a while. I've been asking them about these conferences for weeks. They didn't bother to say anything, so I said it. And that's the reason they're coming to town. And then the second issue we threw at them is the bridge. The bridge they're proposing looks nothing like the bridge that was approved in the drawings. It is an industrial
Oh,
catwalk.
oh, geez.
So
How
they
did that happen?
I don't know, but I'm finding out. So I have basically to put DOH on notice that it cannot be approved. It is a non-conforming bridge.
Absolutely.
I'm just a volunteer, but I could say stuff like that but I can't say it's not approved, but I can tell if it's not going to be approved.
Absolutely.
So,
Will be approved.
I'm
Not
standing
after all
by for
that.
whatever earthquake I've created will show up on Thursday morning here. That's a big deal. Yeah, and so is the Apple Butter Festival thing, because DOH never talked to us after the award. They set the completion date as November 9th.
Oh,
Yeah. And now, where'd you get that from? And did you consider the bridge? No. So they're gonna pay some kind of a little upheaval here for not treating us, the town and the park, the way they should.
okay.
So, anyhow, and I think what we're doing for Beth on the cemetery mausoleum, that's going okay. We've got quotes, we're gonna evaluate them and give them to the cemetery committee once we've evaluated them, so that's looking good. And last but not least, and maybe Rebecca wants to say this, the trailers left town.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people worked on that, and I know that,
Well done.
but it happened. And I said, wait a minute, I gotta share this with everybody, so I went down to the phone.
I want to thank the town crew for getting in there and cleaning it up right away.
Yeah, that is
Wow.
just
Great.
It needs a
amazing.
little more.
Yeah.
It's.
It looks good though,
It-
compared to what it
wow,
was.
Compared to,
Yeah.
I don't have a before picture,
We'll
but,
be doing some extra work on it after we get the fence down.
so, excellent work.
Yeah, very nice.
Yes.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Streetscape Committee, we're gonna have a meeting on Thursday to talk about the first item. I hopefully carved up an early set of drawings and costs so that I'll see it before the state sees it. So it's a good idea. So I believe we're in budget.
And we will be getting a lighting plan as well.
Well, yeah, we're working on a letting, but that's gonna take a bit longer because it's much more complicated. But
Okay. Any questions for Pete?
Well done, Pete.
Thank you
Great
Pete,
stuff.
very much.
Always.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to Train Depot.
Okay, we had a photo shoot at the depot by the West Virginia Division of Tourism on last Friday. They were around in town, and they were at the Trail Depot and other places in town, but they also came to the depot. I had a couple models, as I told the finance committee meeting, and it was one of our constituents, Steve Key, and the pastor from the Church of Christ. They played bluegrass, and so they played for the photographers, and it just sounded wonderful. And several pictures for West Virginia Tourism of the depot. I've been working the last week with Morgan County Historic and Genealogical Society on putting together pictures and pamphlets and informational pamphlet for the depot. They are going to help us with the Apple Butter Festival by manning the inside to talk to people as they come through. And they are producing a pamphlet, a threefold, with pictures of the depot and a history of the depot. And these people, this is Barbara Zimmerman and Terry Golden. They're very excited about it, and they know things that I don't know about how to do these kind of things. And so I'm really glad to have them on board. They will also be selling books that are published by the Morgan County Historic Genealogical Society over Apple Butter in the depot, which is just fine. But they've become very actively involved, and I sure am glad to have them. So that's where we are. I am seeking volunteers to help park cars. 100% of the money taken in from car parking at the depot lot, and if needed, a piece of my property will go to the depot, and all this work that we're doing for preservation, rehab, historic informational details and like that. So anybody who is interested in giving a couple hours to the depot to help us park cars, it's been a good money maker, and they do show up and they do give us money, and we get to talk about the depot. So that's what I've got. Okay.
Good deal.
Thanks, Susan.
All right, Landmarks Commission. We don't have anybody here this evening. Their next meeting is going to be 10/19 at 2 p.m. As that all works out with them. So. All right, let's go to Clerk and Recorder's report. Madam Clerk.
Just a reminder that the state auditor's training, if you would like to go to that, you have to sign up by the 28th of September. It's going to be an all-day training event on October the 4th. And that's in Martinsburg.
It's worth it.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Madam Recorder, you have anything to report? Or you good?
Yeah, as far as recording, yeah.
Okay. All right, let's see, we've got a permit there. Do we want to look at that, or do we just want to, we're just putting them on there right now, so.
I think you're just putting them on there right now for
As you say,
information. It's
yeah.
a roof repair, so it's not really anything that.
Yep. So,
Private homeowner.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
yep, so. All right, then we're gonna move down, let's pay some bills then.
Well, I do have one thing for finance that I didn't
Okay.
have on there. We did talk in the finance committee meeting about expanding the use of the facilities use application to more use of our the town streets and different facilities like the depot lot. Right now, when someone comes in and asks to use the streets, we all vote on it, close down the streets or close down parking. And there really isn't an application put in. So we want to start that. We're working on that and hope to have, details ready by October 1st. And what we're thinking of as a minimum permit fee would be $50. And then we would look at how much that the applicant wanted of the town streets or parking, how much work it was going to be for us, and what, if this was an income producing type of event and like that. So we are working on that, and I do want people to be aware of it. So far, we have really the facilities use. We've used it for the depot lot. But really, when you think of our facilities, the town has a lot more than that, and they are used.
Yeah.
So we're looking at expanding the use of the application process.
All right,
I know I'm in the audience, but may I ask a question about that precise subject?
Sure.
Contractors for the streetscape program, such like that, have generally not been charged for parking
Oh,
at the depot. And they have to put their stuff there, they lay down stuff. And I understand the policy is if they're working for the town, there's no charge.
and I'm in favor of that remaining,
Okay,
that
so-
kind of thing.
So on Thursday, when the gang comes to town for the state park, they're going to ask that question.
I talked to Rodney about it today, and we have some space now that we've cleaned up the back lot, so we can move some of our equipment closer to the back, and then we'll have
But, yeah,
some room there.
And I would like to be able to say that there will continue to be no charge for the contractor.
Yes.
It
and
depends on how much of it they're gonna end up using. If there's
my-
just a few pieces of equipment, which I anticipate that's what it's gonna be,
Yeah.
it won't be a problem.
It's not gonna be as big as the last crew that came through
Right.
for street.
we'll just have to make sure, because we're parking cars on that lot on Apple Butter, so they're gonna have to try to keep it.
That's
Yeah.
what.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
so they're talking about with Rodney. and
We're gonna
Right.
talk to them on.
Yeah, and they're gonna be talking on Thursday, but the question of charge has
I
already
don't
come up
see a
with the
problem. I
contractor.
mean, we've always done that with our contractors and coming down. I mean,
Okay,
that's a whole different situation, I honestly think. So,
thanks.
that
We're not generating
they're,
any.
right, they're going to be doing, the park downtown or our streetscapes or whatever. Generally, that's what we do. I think we personally need to, they would be exempt from.
Yeah, or let's say, depending on what was being done with a group appointed by the Town of Bath Council, like the HLC, if they wanted to have something and needed the
Yeah.
use of, you know, working with our own groups on this type of
I'm
things.
okay from that. We're sort of grandfathered in because you don't have the new policy yet.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
yeah,
But I
like
thought
said,
that'd be, open. and
right.
I think the
transparent.
council will agree with you. Anybody that's
Good point.
working for us should be getting, if they need a place to park it.
Yeah.
As long as it isn't 3,000 pieces of equipment or something that,
Right.
so. Okay,
All
let's
right.
Thank
pay
you.
some bills.
Okay, all right, I'd like to make a motion that we pay the Town of Bath bills in the amount of $22,214.91. I made the motion.
I have a second. I have a motion and a second on the floor to pay the town of Bath bills in the amount of $22,214.91. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries.
I'd like to make a motion to pay the Berkeley Springs Water Works bills in the amount of $60,147.21.
Second.
I have a motion and a second on the floor to pay the Berkeley Springs Water Works bills in the amount of $60,147.21. Any discussion?
Is that for the new truck primarily?
No bond payments.
There's bond payments at the end of the month.
Bond payments?
Mhm.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. We'll always have a higher bill at the end of the month, that second meeting of the month. Okay, any more discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. Okay. Anything else for finance, Susan? Okay. Tree board.
The tree board is at the meeting tomorrow, we'll be looking at the proposed grant application for the Division of Forestry grant. We met with the finance committee and gained permission to spend up to $15,000 of town money up front, which would then be repaid when the grant is paid. Speaking of which, we still haven't received payment for the 2020 whatever grant we did most recently. I don't remember exactly, but I think the figures in the grant application now are around $12,000. We still could decide to, for example, prune a historic tree, but it's around 12,000 and the in-kind hours are around 20,000. So we have many more in-kind hours than we need. And it's my hope that we can, actually, I do want to say a little bit. I hadn't planned to speak. We have a plan to remove hazardous trees. And one of the things we're going to be doing is either having a contractor remove the big trees, all of the trees on 522 from the depot to, I guess, 9. If a tree's dead, it's going to be removed. There are a lot of little dead trees that the tree board will take out. It really doesn't give a very good impression of the town of Bath to have all these dead trees. And this summer was brutal. So we're going to remove trees. We're going to save large, old, valuable trees that can be either braced or trimmed. So for example, there's a tree in the depot lot. We had originally said we wanted to take it down, and Bartlett said, no, that's a really good tree. So we're going to have that trimmed. We are going to plant trees to replace. We hope to plant as many replacement trees as have been taken out. And the new thing that Bartlett recommended, and I am in favor of doing this, it's going to come before the tree board. They have recommended using some special micronutrients or special soil preparation to help our trees do better. So for example, if you go up Greenway Trail, there are approximately 20 trees that were planted 10 years ago as part of a National Fish and Wildlife Foundation grant. And none of them are thriving. They're tiny little spindly things. And so I'm going to propose, as the writer of the grant, that we try this micronutrient program If we see a real improvement in these trees that are in horrible, horrible soil, we'll know it's worthwhile. If we don't see an improvement, it was a noble experiment, and it's not our money directly. It's our time, but it's not, I should say, it's not your money directly. It's your time. So that's a 4-point plan that we hope to do over the next 3 to 5 years. And at that point, Bartlett recommends another tree inventory. We'll see. But this having a longer term plan will allow us to present a more realistic budget to the town, and taking into consideration what grants we can receive. But that I hope that grant proposal will go in Thursday at the latest, and then we can get started on implementing it. And I guess a heads up, we're going to identify the historic trees on town property and ask the council to make a list of these trees as protected trees. So only on town property. And so, first of all, every effort we made to save them if they're at risk, and they can't be taken down without the approval of the tree board and the town council because they're on a list of protected trees. That's a new endeavor for us.
Great. Any questions? All right, thank you, Kate. All right, Grant.
So, Grants has moved from an initial posture from the 1st of July when I took my seat here, through the summer of essentially a pretty detailed learning curve around the universe of grants. We've also drilled down on some priorities around public safety. And one disappointing thing we discovered is one of the programs, the DOJ grants for police salaries, that closed at the end of FY23. Although after further checking, I was advised that I should be keeping apprised of new programs that get funded. Of course, things on the Hill are a little wonky these days in terms of passing budgets. So that's another factor on the federal level. But more encouraging on the local level is plugging in more significantly with Region 9. Their Planning and Development Council, I believe, Scott, I believe you're a member of that.
Yeah.
It's a hub for local grants, and it's a great resource for our community to identify opportunities that are aligned with our priorities locally. And they have meetings coming up in December and March. And so those are the resources now that are just looking for the right opportunities that are aligned with the things that we want to do and start writing grants. That's the plan.
All right. Thank you, Mary. All right, public safety. Chief, you have anything?
The only thing that I have is that we mentioned that there was going to be a letter drafted, I think in the last council, to Division of Highways. That letter has been drafted, and I believe it was that draft was sent out to the Public Safety Committee today for their review and approval.
Yeah.
So that's all I have.
A letter to the Division of Highways concerning the
The
crosswalk.
crosswalks, the speed sign on Wilkes. We're going on record of letting them know that these are the things that need to be done in our community. So, anyway, so once we get the approval, we'll go ahead and get it on letterhead and get it shipped up there. I don't have a problem sending it, if council's okay with it. I mean, I read it, it looked good to me, so you read it great, right?
I agree.
Did we discuss having the entire council sign it for if that
We
was
had-
considered more impactful?
We
I
had
don't have
talked
strong
about
feelings
it.
either way, but
We had talked about it, but I don't know. How do we leave the bottom of that just with your signature, my signature, or your signature?
We can definitely, like I said, it's a draft, so we can open that up.
Yeah.
Everyone's signature.
I mean, I honestly think all council members should sign it. That shows that we're in unity of what we need.
right.
that we're all very, wanting to get this done. So I think what we'll do is on the bottom of it, we'll put signature places for everybody, get it signed and get it out and get it to them for their consideration. If that's okay with council. All right. Yep, let's go ahead and get it printed out. All right. I don't have anything else, so everything's good. So let's move on to cemetery.
As Pete mentioned, we're in the process of obtaining a contractor for the mausoleum. That process is going very well. We received 3 quotes, and we hope to set up some interviews and continue moving forward. There could be more pleased how well things are going.
Good.
That's all I have for now.
All right. Thanks, Beth. Public Works? But nothing? Okay, we're good to go. All right, ordinance.
We have a visit planned with the Deputy Director of the Municipal League, Suzanne Economou, at the end of October. She's going to come tour the town, and we're just going to start the discussion dialogues around home rule to revisit that, because there are several benefits that we could realize from home rule.
All right, thanks, Greg. All right, Waterworks.
I would request at this moment that we consider going into executive session for personnel reasons.
Yeah, we don't have it. We'll have to do that tomorrow night's meeting for the Public Works, because we have to have it on the agenda. I don't have it on this agenda.
Oh, I thought we had put that on the agenda.
Not on this one, it's on your
On the
Waterworks
It's on
one.
Waterworks.
It's on the waterworks.
It's on your
so
Waterworks
we can
agenda.
get that through Waterworks.
Okay.
So.
With that being said, I have nothing else to say. I had all this.
This big claim. Well, just keep it for tomorrow
I will keep it for
afternoon.
tomorrow. I will keep it for tomorrow afternoon.
You gonna be there for the walkthrough? Okay. I need your expertise. All right. All right, we're at the end of our agenda. This is the period I come to where I ask the council members if they have anything else that we need to discuss in this meeting. Yes, sir.
I do. Do we all know what a wart is?
Unfortunately.
I had someone come to my driveway and say, Mr. Hall, do you know what a wart is? I said, I think I do. And he said, would you believe the town of Bath has a wart? And I said, what are you talking about? And he said, the mess that's on 522 on Washington Street. He says, we have this beautiful community and we have a wart. What are we going to do about it? Something needs to be done about the, whatever you want to call it, that's down on Washington.
It's already been done. Letter been sent, and as of
Yep.
when I sent a letter out.
It was certified after, it went out for certified mail on Friday.
And he's already started removing stuff.
That's great.
Yeah, I went by there a while ago. There's a bunch of stuff missing, so we'll see how far that goes.
Okay.
We sent a letter out, like I said, the other week. So we're on top of it. We're doing
Okay.
the best we can.
Okay, the next scenario is, Brother Greg, you had hauled off a bunch of parking meters.
Yes.
To have them repaired. In the past, Susan, didn't we have someone on staff that repaired our parking meters? Wasn't a parking meter lady, wasn't Dorothy qualified, and we sent her away to repair meters? And all of our meters were repaired in-house.
That was 25 years ago.
Yeah, and I think.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I can't tell you what I had for lunch today, let alone 25 years ago.
I know. Well,
But
I think when you come down to it, we've gotten to the point where we don't have parts anymore, can't get parts, some of
And
them,
they're not mechanical anymore.
and they're not mechanical, they're all electronic.
Okay,
So,
Yeah, no, and they were shipped out at no expense to the town.
and we understand that, and thank you.
So,
Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
yeah, so they're a little bit more technical in what they were. several years back. So, you know, they try their best upstairs to put parts. I know that the chief has put stuff back together since he's come here. He's figured out how to put them, take them apart, put them together. So, what he can't fix has to go out for repair. So,
Thank you,
So,
Chief.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
we do have, we have a second batch that are getting, they'll get shipped out next
Yeah.
week.
and then once they get back, I'll get with you and we'll get our tail ends, get them put up where they need to go.
Well, now that we have the wart under control, I've got nothing else to say.
Well, it's under
Just the
control
piece.
so far. All right.
It's still there.
If there's nothing else from any
I got
council,
something.
yep, okay.
First of all, Tom, I wanted to invite you to upcoming public safety meeting because we are now talking about bringing in a vendor. It's all the upfront cost is theirs to get our meters into the current time period. They are more electronic and more efficient and so that is a discussion in the works and hopefully we have a vendor coming for an upcoming public
Good.
safety meeting to talk more
Great.
about that.
Okay.
But I wanted to talk about this Friday night. The Starting Points Mealtime Community Kitchen has a really special event happening up at the American Legion from 5 to 7. It's their annual Empty Bowls event. There's also an online auction that's now available. I checked it today on Jay Lawyer's site. They've got some cool stuff that supports them. You can go online and start bidding there. They also have a lot of great stuff in person. And then you can, when you go, you get different soups that are donated by local restaurants. It's free to attend. Obviously, the bowls, soup only $5, artisan bowls $20, silent auction 50-50 raffle, designer purse tickets. Just a really worthwhile event supporting people in need here in our community.
Absolutely.
And I encourage everyone to. I'm going. Good time.
Good deal. All right.
I'll see you there.
Good soup too.
Do we have,
Yeah, it's
yes,
good.
it is. Anything else, council members? If not, I will open it up to the floor. Anybody that needs to speak to council, you got 3 minutes if anybody does. Okay, I don't see anybody jumping up and down saying, hey, whatever. So, I would ask for, common consent of adjournment.